It's got Al Pacino and Johnny Depp.
I thought it was Johnny Depp. Like Depp?
You thought it was... Hold on a second. You thought it was Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
You thought his name was Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
What the fuck? You illiterate. What the fuck? Johnny Depp is a porn actor.
Bro, I thought it was...
Johnny Girth and Johnny Depp.
two different guys. Hey guys, welcome to Sitting Down with Stand-Ups. Today we have a very special guest, Will O'Donnell. He's a very funny comedian in the St. Louis scene. Tonight we have a fantastic, very funny conversation. If you like what you saw, make sure you check him out on March 23rd at the St. Louis Funny Bone. He will be performing Sunday night, March 23rd. And yeah, we're gonna have a good time, so let's get the show started.
I like this. I kind of feel like we're like a couple of mobsters.
Yeah, like
meeting in
kind
the
of
back of a
Al
restaurant.
Capone, yeah.
We should be drinking espresso with little saucers,
A little espresso martini.
smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
I want to be Italian in the Bronx in 1961 so bad.
Or Italian in Italy. That's
Just
all they do.
Hang out all day long with your bros.
Yeah.
Just all men hanging out, rolling, playing dice, smoking
Yeah.
cigarettes, reading the newspaper.
Freaking,
Time to hang out.
yeah. Maybe hit your
I've
wife.
never hung out in my life.
No.
All I do is go places, do another thing, do another thing. There's no hangout time.
There's never hanging out.
Uh-uh.
And especially,
European men hang out.
they have siestas.
Yeah.
They have times that they just don't work from 11 to 2.
I went to Greece and I saw men just hanging out, playing chess. I don't see anybody play chess in the United States.
No one has
Everybody's
to-
honking at each other.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I did a gig the other day, one of the weirdest gigs I've ever done. Probably the weirdest gig. I got paid to show up to a guy's birthday party. They were having a roast for him. And
Oh,
I got
no.
paid to show him and roast this guy. And I got to, all I had to do was show up and read a script.
Did they give you the script?
Yeah. It wasn't bad.
So you were just a voice?
I just went up and just read the script and was like, all right, thank you. And then I got paid.
At a house?
No, it was like Brennan's in St. Louis. It's at a nice bar.
It went well?
It went great.
Yeah, people were like...
They liked it.
Yeah.
The jokes on the thing weren't very funny, but they were good enough.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, well, I'm not going to improvise too much.
Did you? A little?
Very tiny bit.
Yeah.
But,
Was he easily to make fun of?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like I said, I thought about improvising. I'm like, nah, I'm just going to go up there and read the thing. So there was one really bad joke on there. It said like, oh, this guy likes his coffee like he likes his women, black. And I knew it was bad and I knew it wouldn't get a laugh. And so I just stopped and paused for a second and kind of looked around to see the reaction. And the MC, the guy running the show, the MC, he's sitting there by this time, he's wasted.
Yeah.
And he thought I was pausing to see like if it was okay for me to say that. And he goes, oh, no, you're okay. You're good. Go ahead.
It was like,
I'm like,
that's
I know
not,
I'm
yeah,
good.
That's not why you're pausing. Yeah. Oh, was there a lot of people?
Yeah, like 50 people.
Oh, okay.
Like it was a fun party.
Yeah.
And I was, well, that's why now I made the connection. Is because the script had like 10 F words in it. It was like way dirtier. And I
Which
was
F
like,
word?
You know the one.
Really?
The one that, no, not the double G that ends in
Okay.
a T one.
It's
Just
a double
the
G?
classic. Yeah, there's 2 G's in
No,
there.
there isn't. That's a single G word.
When I spell it, which is all the time, when I'm writing letters to mom and stuff, you know, it comes up a lot, you know. Usually,
I could have sworn there was a single G.
really?
I mean, are you spelling the whole thing out?
It's not like spigot.
Are you
Spigot
doing
is
the-
a
are you do-
spigot is a single G, I think, right? SPIGOT.
But are you doing the slang or are you doing the full word?
Oh, one full slang. If you shorten it, it's 1 G.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, I'm
I thought
going
it was-
full on.
I thought you, oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
much more formal than you are. I like to
Very formal.
say the whole word. You know.
Yeah, you're really going to get your point across.
I like to shorten my slurs. If I'm using a slur, I want to really let it roll off the tongue.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you got a lot is rolling off the tongue with those
Right?
G's.
But, oh yeah, so it was way more dirty than I thought. And I was like, no, I'm not.
That's weird.
I barely ever curse on stage.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But then they went up and they started roasting him and they were saying really filthy things. And I
Really?
was like, okay, this is going to be great. So it was fine.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable Yeah, because you don't know. Especially like if you're just reading off a script, like I'm sure they want you to do well because they're paying you and they want to do this, that.
Yeah.
But like it's like,
I read this thing, and at the end I was like, I know, by the way.
how much time did you have to read it? Was it right on the spot or a day or?
Oh, like the day of.
Really?
Yeah.
And you were just like this.
I was like, it was not enough time to memorize it, so I was like, I'm going to reading it.
I wish it would have given you a little more time. Maybe you could have punched it up.
Yeah, I wish too.
Yeah.
But I don't know the guy. It's hard to roast someone you don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was the wildest gig I've ever done.
That's weird.
It was the weirdest one I've ever done.
Yeah, I've never done a roast for somebody like that. I've done roast battles, but it's other comics. But to like just roast somebody.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it. I thought it'd be because when you're the honoree at a roast and you're getting roasted, you always sit up front where everyone can see your face, and you laugh and laugh at every joke. I would like to get roasted, and I would just sit there and never break a smile.
Just be upset.
And just form grudges,
Does he
lifelong
know
grudges.
we're kidding? Like, does he know we're?
People start getting scared to go up there.
Yeah.
I'm not. Look at his face.
I'm not saying.
I'm writing shit down in a notebook.
Yeah, it's like start writing just names. Just start writing names on a notebook. That's so funny. You were in the Marines. Do you do military jokes? Like
Very little.
Would you like start doing those type of tours?
Sure. I
Yeah?
would love to go entertain troops,
Yeah,
and I'm sure I will at some point.
you should.
I would love to go entertain troops.
I mean, you definitely should. Like, you would be so relatable.
I would love to go overseas and do it at some point.
yeah.
That'd really be fun.
Yeah,
Talk to people like who when they're deployed.
especially if you're in a really remote place. They're gonna have so much fun because it's like you're the only entertainment that they bring,
Yeah.
and it's like I haven't seen. Freaking Eric was telling me about that. He was in a place east of California. It was like between California and Nevada. That I don't know. He was in a territory that he said like the best spot to go to was a Denny's. Like that was like where people went to. And I was like, if you bring like a comedian in there, because everything else is like 2 hours away. If you bring a comedian on base, it's like people are really happy to see you.
I was thinking about that the other day. The first place I went in the Marine Corps was this town called H.E.R.O.E.S, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 50,000 people, pretty small town.
Mm-hmm.
But I grew up in a town of 3,000 people. So I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah,
They got a Denny's.
big city.
They got a movie theater. I'm set.
3,000 people. Where the hell did you grow up?
I grew up in Louisiana, Missouri. 3,000 people. That was life for me from 0 to 18.
Louisiana, Missouri?
Yep.
I've never even heard of it.
I know.
That's nuts.
Why you got to say it all disrespectful?
I didn't mean
like
to,
that?
but when I heard Louisiana, I'm like, Louisiana doesn't have 3,000
I wish it was
people?
called something else.
Yeah.
Because my whole life I've been like, I'm from
Not
Louisiana,
Missouri?
Missouri. And people go, oh, Cajun, LSU,
Yeah.
Crawdads. And I go, no.
You don't even hear the Missouri. You
I
hear
know.
Louisiana, it's
know.
like, oh, yeah, go Tigers.
I wish it was named anything else, but
Yeah.
that's what it's called.
That's nuts.
But-
What was your graduating class?
Like 40 people.
That's stupid.
And I knew like 38 of them since
How are
kindergarten.
you social? Like, how are you social with other humans? Like, when you only have so little people to talk to.
Well, you've heard the theory that really you only need like 150 people,
No.
maybe 300. You ever
Really?
heard that theory?
No.
Like, primates only live in groups of like 150 to 300, or sometimes like groups of like 90. And then after that bigger group, they start to break down. And there's a theory that like human beings have always lived like that. We've lived in groups of 80 to 100 to 300. And then if you get any bigger than that, it starts to break down.
Yeah.
So a town of 3,000 people is plenty of people.
But aren't you like...
But now, that being said, it's plenty of people for a while.
Yeah, afterwards.
It was exciting to be in Sierra Vista. That was the point. That was what I was trying to get to. I was
Yeah.
like, 50,000 people.
Yeah.
There's women here that I haven't known since kindergarten.
That's crazy. Like,
I
you
want to
date
get one of them pregnant
girl
as fast as I can.
You date one girl and it's just like, oh, well, there's only 7 other girls left that I
Yeah,
can date.
you're like, we have history. You're like, oh, you guys have been dating? Oh, well, second grade.
Yeah, I mean...
I had a big crush on her.
Yeah.
She stole my lunch money.
My graduating class was 1,400.
Inconceivable to me.
Yeah. It was a small college. Like, our school was so big that 9th graders had their own campus. So, like, you had a campus for 9th graders and then another campus for 10th, 11th, 12th graders. Our school, I think 2009, was the biggest school in the country with 5,400. We had 5,400 kids in this. Joe Biden, as a vice
Where is this?
South Florida, Cypress Bay High School.
Jeez.
Yeah. Joe Biden came to the graduation to speak when he was the vice president.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And my graduating class was 1,400. My sister's graduating class was like, I think 1,570. It was nuts.
Growing up in a town as small as mine was, it had its advantages. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time I got deep into high school, I wanted to go move to a big town so bad.
Yeah.
Just because when you live in a small town like that, you can't reinvent yourself.
Mm-mm.
You can't be like, I'm gonna go be a jock now. I'm gonna go hang out with the goths, because everybody's like, I've known you since fucking kindergarten.
Yeah, that's not you.
You changed something.
The excitement of reinventing yourself as a young kid. Oh my God! Especially if you
be
go to
like,
a new school.
You could just be like, I don't like this group of kids anymore. I'm going to hang out with this group of kids.
Yeah.
And there's so many of them. You could, not in Louisiana.
You can't do that. Louisiana, Missouri.
Right.
Yeah. You can't do that. I remember when I went from one middle school in 6th grade, then we moved to 7th grade. It was like, then you're like the cool kid because no one knows you.
Yeah,
and
the mysterious guy.
Yeah, the mysterious, like, who is this guy? And they figure out, and they're like, all right, that's not the guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't talk to him. But no, our school was enormous. There are people to this day that I'm just like, oh, you graduated with me. I didn't know that. Like, we were like.
Does it ever blow your mind thinking about how many people there are?
Ever?
Like, there's so many people.
So many people.
It's more than you can imagine. It's more than you can wrap your head around. We know that there's whatever, like 8 billion on the earth, but you can't do 8 billion in your head.
Like, when I go to a football game and I see a stadium of people, like, I'm like, this is so many people.
So crazy. 50,000 people is so many people.
And we're all
that's a town I just made fun of for being small. 50,000. It's nothing.
Yeah. That's not even a full stadium. That's
No.
not even a full football stadium.
It's not
that's
even like a NASCAR race is like twice that many people. And it's like, yeah.
And we're all the same. Isn't that weird? Like, we're all kind of the same people.
All people?
We're all the same people.
Yeah.
We're all kind of the same people.
I don't know if I ever told you this. The very first time I came to Westport Funny Bone to like watch open mic, I was like maybe starting to get the seed in my head that maybe I would try this. But I was like, no, I'm just going to go watch.
You came here before a couple times?
I was like, I'm definitely going to come and watch an open mic and see it, which I recommend if you're like someone who wants to try comedy. I'm like, just go watch open mic.
That's what I did,
Buy a ticket and go watch. I showed up, and I don't remember who was in the box office. I can't remember because I didn't know anyone here at the time. But he goes, it's $5, and I thought it was $1 because online it said it was $1. And
online you can
there was
buy
some
for
confusion. It was online $1, it's $5 in person. So I show up at the ticket office like, oh, I thought it was $1, and he goes, I'm going to put you on stage. And I was like, no, I don't want to sign up for the open mic.
Yeah.
And he's like, ha ha, you're hilarious. And I was just real confused.
It's like that's probably Joe.
It probably was.
It probably was Joe. That's funny. Yeah, first time I went to Helium for the first time to see an open mic before I went, and I'm like so excited, and I was like calling the box office, like, hey, when do you guys start?
Yeah.
Like, what times does it open? And I was the first one there. And I took my fiance and her mom, and I remember Ronaldo just making like the most vulgar joke as the first comedian, and
Nice.
I'm just like sitting next to my fiance's mom, and she's like super Christian, and it's just like, and then like a week later I went to Big Daddy's, and that's the first time I tried comedy.
Big Daddy's, that
Yeah.
was your first one.
That was the first one, and then
Upstairs or downstairs?
it was still downstairs. But yeah, that was the first time I tried doing comedy, and I remember for the first 6 months, I could not go on stage unless I had like 3 margaritas in me. I couldn't do it. I was too nervous. I was too scared. And then one time I just had like, I was just like trying to be so funny, but I was just like so belligerent, and everybody was just kind of looking at me, and I'm like, oh, this is the worst feeling ever. And then now I'm like, maybe a beer before I get up, but I like to be. When you do comedy, you want like it's such a good time for the audience member, but as a comedian, you just want to be as sharp as possible.
Absolutely.
If not, it's like you might miss opportunities. You might miss riffs. You might miss jokes. You might forget jokes. And if you're not sharp, it's like you're doing a disservice to anybody who paid to come out.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
Yeah, but in the beginning, I was just too nervous.
Yeah,
I
I
was
get that.
Yeah, I was way too nervous.
I think a lot of people are probably having some drinks when they first start.
Who told you to do comedy? Like was anybody like you're so funny, or like did you always have a feeling like you were funny, or?
No, I mean, I was always funny. I've been funny since I was a little kid, I think, but I never thought about doing comedy. I remember I just never, it was off the radar completely for me. I didn't know anyone who did comedy. I didn't know anyone who knew anyone who did comedy. So I just never thought about it. And even though I was always funny, I never I don't know, funny was like something I just took for granted.
Yeah. It was just kind of like,
So
that's just you.
You can't get paid for be funny. Like you
Yeah.
can't. Just the connection of being a comedian never formed until I was 35 years old for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, me.
But then when I got into it, I was like into it. I was like, oh, okay.
This
No,
is
this
it.
is the thing I want to do.
Yeah, I started at 29. We started at 35.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that gives me hope because like, especially being around all these younger comics, it's like, I started too late. It's like these guys still have the energy or still have like,
It's just the time.
It's just the time, but it's just
time.
but if you plan to do this
because it takes 15 years to get any good.
Yeah.
And so if you start when you're 20, then when you're 35, you're like, oh, boom, you're starting to get good, and instead of starting at 35,
yeah,
by the time you get good, you're 50, and it's like, oh, now you're an old white guy.
Yeah, no, it's true, but like if you plan to do this, if you want to do this forever, it's like, what's time, you know?
Yeah.
But like energy is a real thing because this is a very energy sucking.
That's why I would love to someday. To me, the height of my career would be to have an old audience.
Daytime.
Yeah.
Matinees.
Just like Jamie Lissow, he does like a 6 o'clock show and an 8 o'clock show.
Buddy, you're in bed by 11.
I was asleep by 11 p.m. after
Second
doing 2
REM
shows.
cycle.
I was like, this is the dream.
Yeah, that's nice.
He's like, I will not do a late show. 0 of my fans will show up.
Yeah.
Old people do not come to late shows. I'm like, that sounds like the dream.
Yeah.
Like,
well, freaking Nate Bargatze. He has, because he's a clean comic, you can bring your kids. He has a 12 o'clock show, a 2 o'clock show, and a 4 o'clock show. It's just like, what?
Done.
You're done. You're having dinner with your family. Like that is, I know.
He's also got probably $100 million. He can kind of do whatever he wants at this point.
Know. He can have a midnight show and
the most popular comedian in the world probably at the moment.
And it's so funny. Isn't it weird? Like you tell us, like you don't know Nate Bargatze? It's like, no, I've never even heard of that name. And it's like, and to me, it's like, dude, that's like
who said that?
Like
civilians
if someone likes civilians, like you like comedy, it's like you know Nate Bargatze is like no.
I know.
I was like, who do you like? It's like Shane Gillis, and it's like Shane Gillis is like, I think my top 3 is Nate Bargatze, Shane Gillis, like actively working, and between Dan Soder and Joe List.
I was gonna say I love Joe List.
Joe List is so funny, man. Like it's so like dry. It's very dry and very smart. And when he was here a couple months ago, I came every night to see him just because it's like.
Yeah, he's my favorite. Joe's my
taller
favorite.
than I thought he would be.
Me too.
He's like 6'3".
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Big guy. Doesn't look tall.
Yeah. He looks like a little guy.
He looks like a little guy.
Yeah.
But he's tall, and I was like, oh man, dude.
Guys think so much about height. You know what I mean?
Bro.
Because women put pressure on us
I'm
too.
5'10" and 3/4.
Yeah.
The fact that I know I'm 3/4 says a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And isn't it crazy? No one says, if anybody says they're 5'11", they are not 5'11".
Yeah.
Because if you are 5'11", you're going to say you're 6 foot.
That's a good point.
And if you're anything less than that, pretty close to it, you're going to...
That's a good point. I never thought about that. No one who says they're 5'11"
is really 5'11". No, because that's like the sweet spot of just like...
I'm 5'9" and a half.
Yeah.
And in the military, they round up that half an inch. And
really?
I was like,
5'10", dude?
I'm 5'10", bro. That was worth boot camp.
Yeah.
They got me an extra half an inch. I'll give up 4 years of my life for that shit.
Did you play sports in high school?
I played some football.
You played football?
A little different level of competition between a 1,400 people class.
Yeah. We were 8A.
Yeah. We were 2A.
2A, yeah. We were 8.
Pushing in 2A. I think we were like, if we lost too many more students, we were going to be 1A.
Yeah. We had like 67 kids in our team, which is bigger than your graduating class, which is nuts. But I think about this so much because it was such a wasted opportunity. Now it's like, whatever, I'm fine now. But like, when I was in high school, I had a 3.8 GPA, which is good. And the reason I did that was because my guidance counselor was my football coach, and he put me with the best teachers that were the easiest. So I got really good grades.
Nice.
And then senior year comes around, and I had to take Colgate College, which was an Ivy League school, was really interested in me playing football there, and they wanted to give me a scholarship. So they wanted me to take the ACT and the SAT. And I took the ACT, and I was like, I'm not this smart. Like, I didn't prepare for it. Like, I don't know. I'm not doing any good at all. Then I noticed there was a kid, 1 and over, that was really hiding his exam, but he was hiding his Scantron so much that he was like this, and he was only writing, and he was like letting them hang here. And then I realized that we had the same like 6 answers. And I'm like, the 6 answers, like they're the easiest. So I'm like, okay, we have the same exact test. So I just copied every single one. I got a 34 out of 36.
Oh.
Yeah.
A 34 out of a 36.
Out of 36. That's
on what?
On the ACT.
On the ACT?
I got a 34.
You got 34?
Out of 34 out of 30.
By copying?
By copying. I mean, he was Asian. I figured this guy's got it.
So
And
now they think you're brilliant.
yeah, but they're like, all right, we need you to take the SAT.
Oh,
We need,
whoops.
and they're like, if you get anything over a 1200, like, will you get a full ride to an Ivy League school? And I got like a 780.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I'm like, I should have just been like, dude, like, fuck Colgate. I can apply to any university and get a full ride anywhere
Yeah,
I
you
go.
didn't have to go to Colgate. You could have gone to Crest. You could have gone to Pepsodent.
Tom's.
Yeah.
Tom's
is-
University.
yeah, they're alternative. They're kind of a small Ivy.
Yeah,
They're,
small Ivy.
Liberalites, liberal arts.
Liberal
Liberalites.
Ivy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not liberalites go to that liberal arts school.
But I ended up not applying to any college because I was so naive. I'm like, I'll get a full ride. It's fine. And I didn't
34, dude.
huh?
You had a 34 in your ACT.
But I
I'm
didn't-
surprised you didn't go to fucking
I didn't
Harvard.
apply to any schools.
Yeah,
I was-
they do like you to do that. They do like you to apply.
I didn't
I
apply.
didn't either. I just joined the Marines.
Well, I just went to community college down the street, and it was just like, if I would have just applied to any school, I would have gotten a full ride. But I was just like, I'm gonna put my highlight film on YouTube, and someone will find me. And my coaches always look back, because I hung out with them a couple weeks ago, and they're like, dude, I'm surprised you didn't go D1 AA. Like, you could have easily played D1 AA and got a full ride. I'm like, no.
What's double A?
D1 AA. There's like D1, D2, D3. Those are the section. There's D1 AA, which is like right below like the major schools. So it's like,
Okay.
you ever heard of North Dakota State University? It's like they're
No.
D1. They're like the best D1 AA in the country. And they're like, you could have gone to any D1
But
AA.
it's a tier above D2.
Tier above D2, tier below D1, and they can still give scholarships. D2 can't really, they can't, but they don't have as much. D3, they can't give any scholarships.
Yeah.
So I could have gotten a scholarship, but like, no one told me about the process. I grew up with a single mom. She didn't know what I had to do.
That's so much, man.
It's so much. I'm like, you had to send out film. You had to buy CDs.
That's so
copy
much
them.
of what, like, you know, real privilege is. Mm-hmm. It's not about, like, how much money your mom has. Well, it is about that, too.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you have 2 parents and they both went to college,
They know the process.
they know the process.
Yeah.
But if they didn't go to college, they're like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
And then you're just, like, relying on the public school system.
To be
Good
like,
luck, buddy.
Yeah. And none of my coaches be like, hey, you need to send out your film. And like, you need to start
Right.
like reaching out to colleges. You need to do this, that, and the other. And
Which is, you need bad when you're a teenager. You just
Yeah.
need an adult to be on top of you, be like, do this.
yeah.
Do this now. Do this
And I was
next.
just like, it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, and it's crazy because I still got like D2 and D3 colleges to be like, you can come and you'll play, you'll be a starter, but we can't give you, we're not allowed to give scholarships. So it's like, so looking back on it, I'm kind of glad because like football is such a dangerous sport. Like I could have gotten injured. My whole life could have been completely different. So I'm glad it all turned out the way it was. But it was just looking back and I was like, we could have gone to any university for free with football or academics.
I took college algebra at community college, and I was like 30, and I finally got it. It's like I struggled so hard in 7th and 8th grade with
That's
algebra.
a good feeling. And you like clicked.
I was one of these people. I'm like, I can't do algebra. It's impossible. And then I did it when I was 30, and I was like, oh, I finally get it.
Yeah.
Like, if I would
Well,
have
were
had
you
this
teaching
teacher
your
when I was in
kids?
7th or 8th grade, like I would have, my life could have gone differently.
Yeah.
Because instead I was like, oh, I can't.
It doesn't.
I'm not smart at math.
Yeah.
And like the way they teach you in high school, when I was in high school, is like, nobody told me, oh, that's okay. You can suck at math. There's all these other stuff at college. Like, you're good at words. There's a lot of words if you go in this other direction at college.
lot of words.
You're just not going to be an engineer type. You're not going to be a
Yeah,
technical guy. You're going to be a words guy. But they were like, in high school, they were like, well-rounded. You have to get math scores and English scores. If they would have told me like, nah, dude, just be an
Do
English
that.
guy.
Yeah,
Like, do that.
yeah.
I'm like, okay.
And I think that's going to be the future. I think, especially like nowadays, it's like there's so many different like specific schools that you don't have to be good at everything, and just like highlight what you're good at and just like
I think
shine
figure out
there.
what you're good at and double down, triple down on it. Is
Yeah.
good advice for young people.
Double down.
Figure out what you're really good at naturally without much effort. Maybe think about doing more of that. But when I was growing up, I had this feeling of like I've got to shore up all my weaknesses. You know, I'm naturally terrible at A, B, and C, so let me work really hard on those so I can get barely adequate. Fuck that.
No.
I'm naturally really good at D. I'm going to put all my resources into that so that someday I can pay someone to do A, B, and C. You know what I mean?
So true. And it's like, but it comes down to being well-rounded. I feel like growing up, I mean, you're a generation before mine, but like it's like you wanted to be a good working bee. Like you wanted to be a good worker bee so you can be a cog in a business.
And I think that's what school kind of, they don't even do a good job of cranking that out anymore, but that's what they were trying to crank out. Maybe they were doing a good
Better
job
employees.
of it 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah, you're trying to crank out better employees. And now with AI, I'm so interested to see how this all works out because I use ChatGPT for everything. And now
Really?
you use it?
I've never once used it. I
Brother,
don't even know how to use it.
It is the most...
Do I go to chatgpt.com?
It's OpenAI.
Okay, openai.com.
Yeah.
I've literally never been to openai.com.
It's literally there's an art now to asking ChatGPT how to do something, because you can't be like, oh, make this better, and it's more like you have to give it prompts. It's like, hey, I am a comedian, I'm working on this, this is my goal, give me 10 examples of how I can improve that.
Some people are really good at asking Google. Some people can find the thing real quick. They sort of understand what it wants, and some people don't.
Google on steroids.
Yeah.
Dude, you need to be on ChatGPT, and you need, and that's the point that I was getting at is like, it's going to be to a point that it's not how good could you do something, it's how good can you ask the computer to do something, because it's so much better than us, but you have to tell it what to do, and you have to be good at telling it what to do. It's so funny because Melanie uses it, starting to use it a little bit more. Melanie is my fiance, and she always asks, please. I'm like, are you afraid that they're gonna like take over? Like if they ever take over, it's like, could you please tell me this, that, and the other? But I'm
gonna call it bitch.
No, it'll say no. It's like, hey,
will?
I would prefer if you didn't use that language when you're talking to me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of like smart like that, but
you
got to get on it.
Maybe if I smack it in the mouth a little bit, forget about it.
Forget about it. Do you want to plug any shows?
Yeah, the only thing I want to plug is here at Westport Funny Bone.
When are you here?
March 23rd.
Nice.
I'm doing a one-nighter headlining for a fundraiser for H.E.R.O.E.S. Care.
If you haven't heard of Will O'Donnell, I almost said Will Ferrell. If you haven't heard of Will O'Donnell, he's on the same level as Will Ferrell. They're two in the same. Headlining comedian. You've opened for some pretty big guys, and now you're headlining. It's kind of crazy because I started 3 years ago, and I mean, you were like in the midst of it, and now
it's been a good 3 years.
Yeah, now like it's crazy because like I've seen you like really like take some serious strides. Like you opened for Dusty, and now you're headlining at this club, and now you're touring, and it's just like, damn, that's nuts.
It's the curve of getting better, is sort of, and of things happening, is sort of a parabolic curve rather than a smooth curve. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
It's like
you're like 4 years of like mostly doing open mics and hardly getting booked, and then like you start to figure something out, and all of a sudden people start
noticing
getting you on shows. It feels like for me, it always feels like, God, it just feels like I'm not making any progress. I'm not making any progress.
And then out of nowhere.
But then like I look back at what I was doing a year ago, and I'm like, oh, I've definitely gotten better. Because you get better incrementally in these little tiny amounts.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's making any difference, but then you look back a year or even 6 months sometimes, and I'm like, oh, I was doing that bullshit 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it anymore. I'm doing that a lot better now.
I'll end with this. I spoke to Greg Stone today, and he's like, dude, you need to do this, especially because I'm featuring for the first time this weekend for Eddie Gosling. That's the first time I ever featured. Thank you.
That's awesome.
It's the first time I ever featured at a comedy club, and he's like, you need to do this starting now. You need to make a construction paper or any type of paper, write a line down the middle, and on the left side, write goals, and on the right side, write achievements, because you will always look at your goals and always think you're falling short, but if you write down your achievements, you're gonna be like, no, I'm doing stuff. Like I'm actually doing.
That's a great exercise.
And it works for anything because like you always have these goals that may be unattainable and this and the other, and you feel
Every
really.
time you get them out, part of you's like, I'm not. But I'm much closer to that one. I forgot I was even working towards that one, and I'm not doing anything. Yeah. It's nice to have that column and being like, no, I did this.
No, I'm doing a lot. It's
I need that for my wife. Like when she starts getting upset with me, I'm like, yes.
Yeah,
there's a lot in column A. But I want you to look over here in column B. There's a lot going on over
there.
Took
out the trash.
Unloaded the dishwasher. Brought you food that one time. Remembered your birthday. There's stuff over here.
Big achievements.
Big stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for being on the podcast, man.
My pleasure.
It was super fun.
I'll meet you here in this Italian mobster bar anytime.
Yeah, maybe next time we need like fedoras and cigarettes and just fucking...
I got to go see Enzo.
Yeah, I got to go see Enzo. Talk to him in the booth.
Enzo sent for me.
Yeah.
He asked you to do his podcast? No, he sends for you.
Yeah, come over here. Take a seat.
He sends a car. Yeah. Okay.
And you sit in the front.
Look, we're asking you to get in the car, and we're asking you nicely. Next time, it won't be so nice. Okay.
That's really good. Are you sure you're not Italian?
Well, I was thinking about going that way. What if I just went full Italian?
Are they like converting?
No, just like telling everyone that I'm from the Bronx.
You look Italian.
Right. I've got dark hair. I can do the accent. And then people will be whispering, you know Will O'Donnell? No. You know Will Donnelly?
Yeah.
He's actually...
Will Donnelly?
He's a hick from bumfuck Northeast Missouri. He's not from the Bronx. I'm like, I spent my whole life in New York City. You know?
Somebody from
with my uncle Silvio. He used to make the most amazing fucking Parmigiano.
I have an uncle named Silvio.
Of course you do. My name's Enzo.
Yeah, and I have like 16 cousins named Enzo. Enzo's like John in Italy. Like it's like the most common name. No, you should definitely do a little bit more. You do actually a really surprisingly good Italian accent.
I love those movies. I grew up with them.
Yeah.
Donnie Brasco.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of Donnie Brasco?
No.
Watch it this weekend.
Donnie Brasco?
It's got Al Pacino and Johnny Depp. It's incredible.
Really? I thought it was Johnny Depp. Like Depp.
You thought it was... Hold on a second. You thought it was Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
You thought his name was Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
What the fuck? You illiterate.
English isn't my first language.
Well, okay, that's a D-E-P-P, Johnny Depp, not Johnny Depp. What the fuck? Johnny Depp is a porn actor. His Johnny Girth and Johnny Depp.
two different guys. All right. Well, yeah. Now we know Johnny Depp. If you're watching.
The best movie though, I won't close with more than my favorite. I just rewatched it. That's why it's fresh on my mind. A Bronx Tale.
Oh yeah,
Bronx Tale. Okay.
That's a great movie.
If you hadn't seen that one, I was about to.
No, that was a really, really good movie.
What I didn't know the first time I watched it, what I found out recently is, Chaz Palminteri wrote it.
I don't know who Chaz
He's
is.
the main actor. He's the main
mobster
really? In the movie.
He wrote it?
He wrote the whole thing. Not only did he write it, but he performed it as a one-man show. And it became a hit.
Broadway?
Yeah. Wow. He was a nobody with no acting experience who was just like writing his own shit. He wrote it, performed it. He still performs it. You can go see him. I want to go see him. It's like 17 characters. He does all of them.
That's like fucking Sylvester.
He shifts back and forth and does all of them. It was like Rocky.
Yeah, Sylvester.
What happened was he started to get heat. Industry people started sniffing around, and then the studios started going like, "Hey, we'll give you $300,000. We'll give you $500,000. And he's like, but they all wanted to take it from him.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. And he's like struggling and starving. And then they're like, we'll give you $1 million. And he's like, no. And then finally Robert De Niro got involved and was like, I want to see your vision come to life. I want to keep it true and I want to direct it. And then that's how they made it.
That's crazy. Did you hear about the...
When you know that story, then you watch the movie, it's like it adds to the power.
I didn't know that.
Like,
I want to watch it again now.
It's a home run. It was his debut.
Did you hear Sylvester Stallone with his dog?
Uh-uh.
So he sold his dog.
Oh, I did hear that.
Yeah.
He was so poor he sold his dog.
He sold his dog, and then like a couple months later, Rocky got bought. And then he went back to that gas station where he sold his dog and waited for that guy, and he ended up like just waiting for that guy, and then the guy came back and he's like, I want my dog back. He's like, I'll give you $1,000 and I'm not sending you this dog back. Ended up paying like $15,000 for that dog to get him back.
He's like, do you know who I am? I'm Rocky. I can beat up anybody.
Well, it wasn't, the movie wasn't done yet.
I can beat up Mr. T. I can beat up Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, pity the fool.
Fucking Apollo Creed twice.
I've never seen Rocky, but that's...
You never seen Rocky?
No.
Any other movies?
No.
Really, really great.
Do you cry in those? I get really emotional in fighting
I
movies.
don't
or
cry,
like
but I
athlete
get
movies.
fucking pumped
Yeah, I'm
up,
like,
dude.
Do some push-ups or
I'm
something.
like, dude, I'm ready to put on some sweats and
Yeah,
go run
yeah.
about 100 miles,
And then
man.
you block
I got
it.
heart, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm like, I'm little.
Not
I'm
endurance.
just like Rocky, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not tall, I'm not strong, but I got heart, dude. I can fight someone a foot and a half taller than me
ain't
and
no bell.
just be tougher than him.
Yeah,
You know? Just care more.
Just caring more will get your ass whooped.
Yeah, it gets you killed.
It's like you care more to get your ass whooped. That's what
I got heart. He's dead.
it's like.
But he had a lot of heart.
Yeah,
He brought a lot of.
big heart. It's flat though. It's a flat line heart right now. All right. Well, thanks, man.
That was fun.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye.
That was a fun conversation.
Yeah, super fun.